Hi, my name's Bronwyn Jane and I'm a psychic medium and a spiritual coach. Welcome to my YouTube channel, Life as a Medium. My version of what that is, my story even to what that is. So today I wanted to share with you the process that I go through when I have finished readings. Now, as part of my reading process, and everyone may be different, so I can only talk from my perspective. I call spirit very close. Now, depending on spirit, sometimes it's exceptionally close, and we may really blend our energies for the purpose of the reading. But either way, what happens is two things for my physical at the end of a reading. I know that it takes a little while for almost sort of my head, if you like, to come back. Think of, when you first wake up and, someone may call you, you just still feel a little bit groggy or unusual. That's the best thing I can come up with. It's a little bit like that. So if I've had to take a telephone call before I have grounded myself after readings, it is a little bit like that, even to the point where whoever is on the end of the phone will notice that I'm not how I normally would be. I may sound a little bit different. I may be a little bit vaguer than normal, let me tell you. So it can be that kind of thing. But the other thing that happens that's really kind of interesting for me is that my legs tremble. Now, it's not necessarily something it's very subtle, and it's not necessarily something that everyone would notice that's around me, but I can feel it, and it feels like a tremble. And that's just that excess energy that is still there. So I have those two things going on. I have that excess energy in the legs that creates that sensation of trembling. And also I'm a little sort of too up, if you like. I'm a little bit detached. And so it just takes a minute or so for that to come back. So for the mind, if you like, for it to just sort of come back down to where it needs to be, that frequency of normality, whatever that looks like for me. It can be a little bit different some days. Whatever that is, that takes a little while. So not that long. I don't know if I had to put a time on it, 5 minutes, something like that. I've never really timed it, but I do notice that if I've had to take a call straight away, that I sort of feel like I'm in the call but not in the call. And that's what I said. The closest thing I can come to is when we first wake up, what that feels like. And then the other thing, which is really kind of significant for me and takes a little bit longer to shift, is the energy in my legs. And it's held, for me, it's held in my legs, predominantly the thigh areas where I really feel it. So what I like to do, and it depends on when I finish readings really, I need to go for a walk. And so that going for a walk for me basically transmutes and releases the energy out of my legs. So that physical activity will shift it. And I know it goes into the earth, but it also dissipates out through the sides of my legs. And it allows me to ground as well. And also it's, physically, it's a wonderful thing to do. And I can connect with nature and all of those things that happen when I walk in my environment, because I'm very blessed to live in a wonderful place. So yeah, it's just, I wanted to share that to you because it's not something, I don't know if everyone has it. I'm not quite sure. I've never heard other people talk about it. Maybe it's just not talked about. But yeah, so it's that subtle energy that sort of feels like it's shaking in my thighs at the end. I know it's not me. I know it's just excess energy from spirit that I just need to move out of my physical. And sometimes it's even not quite in the physical. It just feels like it is. So it's really close. It's in that etheric template. It's that the etheric field, it's in that space. And so, yeah, I ground. And I know grounding, sometimes we're not quite sure what it is, but for me, very simply, in this instance, it is walking. And it's just that action of that walking will shift that energy, it releases it into the earth. And I mean, I walk for a couple of Ks, but I really don't need to. It's just that as I said, I live in a great location and I'm able to do that. But normally, if I can't walk for that period of time, maybe my readings have ended really late and I don't have the daylight or something like that, as long as I sort of do a couple of minutes, 5 to 10 minutes of walking, that will shift that energy. Now, I do know if I haven't been able to do that and I can't walk like I like to, which is really rhythmic and almost meditative type of walking, if I can't do that, the energy will be held in my legs. It can last up to half an hour for me sometimes, depending on the kind of day I've had. So it's a very subtle thing. As I said, it's within the physical and the etheric field is where I can sort of feel it and I know exactly what it is. But I also appreciate that if I don't release this energy long term, it can be really, bad for me. So I do shift the energy that way. So as I said, I'm not too sure if other mediums experience this. I haven't heard other people talking about it. I assume they do and they just don't talk about it. I'm not sure. But it is something just to be aware of, that the energy can come very close. It can come into our field. And if we don't have a practice, now that's my practice, other people will have their own practices. If you don't have a practice of releasing that energy, long term, it can cause problems. Now, I have heard of problems being health problems. I know that there can be other kinds of issues that are not health related, but it is something when you are working with energy, you need to be very aware of, which is your energy and the impact of other energies on your energy. So as I said, that's my practice. That's what happens in my world. And I just thought you might not be aware of that. And I would let you know of that little thing that goes on when a reading ends. Have a wonderful day. And until we connect again in this forum or another forum, I wish you well.